Well, Black Ops 7 is a failure, and it really pains me to say that because I am a COD fanboy through and through. I want this franchise to return to the top, and I've just been doing some ranting videos lately, but I told you in the last one that I wanted to put a stop to that, and I actually saw a Westy video who's a Battlefield creator, and he titled it 9 Reasons Battlefield 6 is Failing. And to me, it came off as someone who loves Battlefield and wants to see that franchise succeed. So I am going to copy that exact formula that he did. And I think I want to go over 9 reasons why modern Call of Duty is failing. And I'm going to go through each point. And this is from a standpoint of, I think if they are to correct these issues, this whole franchise can return to its former glory and not become the next Halo. So let's dive right into it. I have all 9 in front of me. Before we get started, obviously, please put the comments down below. And I consider this not really a rant video. I consider it more of like constructive feedback. Like, this is where I think the franchise should go. Some of you may disagree with some of these points. Some of you may be, hey, T-Dawg, you're preaching right now. So let me know in the comments down below, like I said 2 seconds ago. But anyway, let's start it off right away with fatigue. And obviously, this has been the conversation of everything around right now, that this franchise, people are just tired of it. They're tired of getting a Call of Duty every year. They're tired of seeing the same thing every year. And this actually, to me, goes back to a larger issue, or maybe it's a larger issue. To me, I think it's the engine that we're on. So it's fatigue, but I think it's also the engine. And when I say this is, I go back to the golden age. Call of Duty 4, World at War, Black Ops 1, MW3. I think I might have said MW, didn't say MW2. Either way, there were Call of Duties every single year up until today. Like, there's never really been a fatigue like there is now. And part of the reason is those golden age Call of Duties, and even into Black Ops 4 and MW19 and even Cold War, they felt like different Call of Duties. When you look at COD 4 to MW2, it's Infinity Ward making another game, but it feels totally different. And then World at War to Black Ops 1 feels totally different. BO1 to BO2, totally different. And then you have them all mixed together where you're getting World at War and BO2 and MW3. It's like, there is so much different. I don't know what the word is. Differentness. That is a made up word. But it really was, every one of those titles felt unique. Even going into the jetpack era, all 3 of those games felt unique. They felt like they were on different engines, and they felt like they were different play styles and different artwork and different just gunplay. And, you know, there may be a nerd out there that's like, hey, they really were on the same engine, but they just did some. Okay, whatever. Maybe they're on the same engine, but the way that they use these engines were just totally different. And I think that went all the way up until Cold War. Like, every game felt different until we got to MW2 or even Vanguard, because Vanguard felt like a little bit of a clone of MW19, just with a World War II paint. And now it feels like MW2 has been leading whatever engine they brought into in MW2. It feels like that's the engine that we're using for every Call of Duty after. And there's no differences in them. Like I said in a previous video, we're still using that clunky mantle animation from MW2 that they added, and it's so bad. And like, the sliding feels the same, the gunplay feels the same, and it's just, there is no difference in this. And I feel like that is just such a big mistake. And until they fix that issue, we're gonna have the same problems. Now, I have hope for this, because MW4 is the next Call of Duty. It's going to be the first Call of Duty not on previous gen consoles. So maybe they can do something like what MW19 did. A lot of you guys don't like that game, and that's fine. But whatever you want to say about that game is, it felt different. It felt like it was a unique offering to Call of Duty. And that's what we need. So, on, you know, obviously the back-to-back, everybody can talk about that. Back-to-back Black Ops, back-to-back Modern Warfare, is supposed to be a DLC. We've spoken on that too many times. There needs to be a difference in the way these games feel. I want to know that I'm playing a Treyarch game versus an Infinity Ward game versus a Sledgehammer game. Not they all feel the same, just with a slight paint, a change of paint, whatever you want to call it. So fatigue is my number one thing. And the way you fix it is changing the engine, changing the way the games feel, and hopefully using the power of these next gen consoles, because I don't really feel like we've been using them that crazy. So anyway, here's another one. Anti-cheat. Number 2, we're on anti-cheat. Now for me, I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like they actually have done a decent job with hackers in this game. Now here's the thing, there's 2 ways you can think about this. One, there's not as many people playing the game nowadays. So maybe there's just not enough interest in hacking Call of Duty because nobody cares enough to play it. Because I'm looking at Arc Raiders now and they're having a little bit of a problem with hackers, and that's because it's the top dog. And so I look at that from a perspective of the hackers don't even care to hack your game because nobody's playing it. Now, the reason I bring up Arc Raiders with this is, let me bounce back real quick. I do think Call of Duty has improved the anti-cheat, whatever they call it, because of the T2P thing you had to install on PC. I don't know what that is, but I got it installed. I feel like I don't run into hackers that often. But again, I think that's because people aren't playing this game as often. But the one thing that I saw Arc Raiders do the other day, which I think is just, I don't understand how this is not a like standard operation in gaming. Arc Raiders put out their like anti-cheat, you know, here's what we're gonna do. And if they see you hacking or they catch you hacking, it's an immediate 30-day ban. 30 days off the rip, no questions asked. See you later. We'll see you in 30 days. Learn from your mistakes. Okay. I love that. And then after that, if you get caught again hacking after your 30-day ban, they're going to be pursuing the hardware ban. So you won't even be able to boot this game up because they caught you hacking twice. You know what? How is this not the standard operation? I don't understand it. This is a perfect way to shut down any sort of hacking accusations, blah, 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 blah. And it really makes you think, okay, that was a fair fight, because you know what? If the person was hacking, he's probably banned or hardware banned, or he's banned for 30 days. And I think that is great. I think that's going to gain them so many positive brownie points. Again, this is a smaller studio and they're doing things better than every other game company out there. It just doesn't, well, it does make sense because I guarantee you they're just more passionate about it, and they're more, there's nobody above them saying you need to do this and this, and it's a trickle down effect. So number 2, Call of Duty needs to copy the anti-cheat of Arc Raiders, and they need to do it now. Not don't do it next Call of Duty. Implement it in the next season when you reveal Blackout 2 or whatever they're gonna do. So that is number 2. Now number 3 is, and these are not really in order, they're just kind of what popped into my head. Number 3 is the atmosphere. Let me show you a quick clip real quick that I saw on Instagram. No shameless plug here. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 60,000 followers. Tdawgsmitty. Watch this clip.
Look at this place. 50,000 people used to live in the city. Now it's a ghost town. Never seen anything like it.
Okay, I put this as my story the other day because I don't really know what else to say besides I put one word: aura. That, to me, right away, you saw the atmosphere of this game. It was dark, it was gritty, it was lifelike. You were put into these real life situations and it made you just fall in love and get immersed in this, I keep saying, atmosphere. And to me, this is what's really lacking. I did a whole entire video on the forgotten aura of the OG COD. And if you really watch that video, you can see how every single time it just continues to break down further and further away from OG Call of Duty. And it goes to the main menu, it goes to the music. I mean, look at the COD 4 music. You get hit with this foggy main menu, and you get hit with this like unsettling music. Same with World at War and Black Ops 1. It's like all these things, they put you right into the world. And nowadays, now you boot into the game and it's, hey, buy the new season or battle pass event. And we'll touch on that later on in this video. And to me, that just takes you out of it. To me, I'm like, okay, so they want me to buy a battle pass. They don't really care about the aura of this game. They just want to sell me something. And that's a big problem. And so I think there's two things else with the atmosphere. One, my buddy Cup of Joe and I were talking about this morning, actually, when I recorded this. If you guys remember Area 99, this was a Warzone map that was literally in the game for like a month, it felt like, in Black Ops 6. It was a Nuketown vibe, but for Battle Royale. And the way that this map looked should have been the way that this Arc Raiders map looked. Arc Raiders has come in here and just shown you what art style can do for a game. I truly believe part of the success of Arc Raiders is the legit atmosphere of this game. I'm not a big extraction shooter, but I'll tell you right now, sometimes I just get in that game and I look around and I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, I feel like I'm in real life. It's insane. And that, to me, the sand level, some of you will comment down below what it is. That's what Area 99 should have looked like. Instead, Area 99 looked like this dull, boring factory warehouse on Nuketown. Who's gonna want to play that? So that's the art direction / atmosphere has just been completely lost. And then there's one more example that's been going viral on social media, on Twitter, is the comparison of Meltdown in BO7 to BO2. If you went up to somebody and said, hey, that didn't play Call of Duty, which of these do you think was made in 2026 and which one do you think was made in 2012? I'm assuming the person's gonna say, oh, the one on the left's the updated graphics, right? And most people would say, yeah, you're right. Not in Call of Duty. That to me, the Meltdown in BO7 is soulless. It even comes down to the control panel in the control area. I don't know what the word is for it. They didn't bring the donuts back from Black Ops 2. I know, it's a small Easter egg, a callback to Homer Simpson, but that's the small stuff that we're talking about that's going to give you that, like, oh yeah, that was cool. I'm glad they brought that back. And for some reason too, the control panel in the BO7 one looks like it's older than the BO2 one, and BO2's in 2025 and BO7's in what, 2035? It's just, that's what I'm talking about. I bet you that was a Black Ops 6 map and they just held it for BO7. I would bet any amount of money. So atmosphere is number 3. You got to get whoever's doing the art direction in Call of Duty. Look around at Arc Raiders, look around at Battlefront 2. Look at what you're putting out versus what we were used to, okay? And let's get it back to that skybox that actually has a little bit of flavor rather than a whatever that is in that Meltdown photo. Okay, number 3 was atmosphere. Number 4, it's crossovers. We did this whole thing, like this marketing pitch to be like, all right, guys, we're listening and we're not bringing back Carry Forward, okay, guys? And that was great. That was awesome. I thought that this was going to be a Call of Duty where it actually felt like you were in 2035 and this was like the era and the skins and all that matched. And they might get a little weird because, like, it's 2035. We don't know what that's going to be like. But 2 months later, we have another clip going viral, and it's this one, and I'll have it in the background. It's a Fallout crossover, and they're running around with the robots or whatever they're called in the Fallout show and game. What has Warzone, what has Call of Duty become? And it's the same fight that we've been fighting for the last 2 years. They're bringing these skins back again. And I said in the previous video, I didn't mind Fallout. Like, I don't think like the blue skin would have gotten me all crazy, but then you see that mode and then you're like, do you genuinely think that people see that and go, I really want to hop back on Call of Duty? That looks phenomenal. No, they're gonna see that and go, that looks awful. I am never installing that game again. And that's how it is. They're going to go play Arc Raiders and they're going to go have fun. And so to me, I don't know if they're trying to appeal to a young audience, but I'm going to say it again. It's a mature game, 18 plus. Why don't we appeal to an older audience? Why don't we bring back the feeling of being in a war, the call to duty? You know, the reason that the game was titled what it was. And so I think crossovers, we have to do something about this. I don't know what you can do. I don't know. Again, they're probably signed on for the entire year. And I will guarantee you, let's look back on this video, they'll get crazier, because if the player base continues to decline, they're going to just want money. And they're going to try to recoup as much money as they possibly can. So they're just going to spit out crap that the person will just buy, that buys whatever. And that's going to be another problem. So we got to work on the crossovers. You know, I think one of the things that made Call of Duty Ghosts so great back in the day with the Michael Myers crossover and the Predator crossover was it was map specific. You played and you couldn't even get it all the time. It was a field order that you would unlock and you had a chance to get it. So very rarely did you see Michael Myers, and when you did, it was actually kind of cool because it wasn't something that happened every 3 seconds. You weren't seeing it every time, and it was on that map only. Michael Myers was never running around Stonehaven, and that's what makes it awful too. So crossovers, I wish they would just stop doing this. I really do. Take the Battlefield approach. Really, I don't think you may be gaining money in the short term, but you're losing people in the long term, in my opinion. Next up is movement. And this one I think might get me in a little bit of trouble because people always seem to argue this one. I guess it's the people that came up in the 2019 era, but the movement, in my opinion, is just too fast. I feel like the sliding meta, it's just worn out. Obviously, we got that in MW19, but it felt like a little bit more controlled. And obviously in BO6 and MW3 and Black Ops 7, it just went into a different world. Like, it's in a different dimension how much you slide. And I think that's really affecting a lot of this. It's just so fast. And when I say this, I really do mean it. Go back and play BO3 on Xbox or PlayStation. That game, a jetpack Call of Duty, is slower than Black Ops 7. And most people would say that doesn't make any sense. A jetpack COD's like twitchy and glitchy and all that stuff. It's not. BO7 is faster. And there's a little small point that I've been saying in the podcast and all these sorts of things. I think FOV plays a factor. I really, really do. Field of view. All these streamers, all these creators, all these people that are twitchy and want their TikTok clips, they're playing at 120 FOV. Back in the old days, back in my day, it was 80, I think, 60, 80, I don't know, one of those two. And it really slowed it down. And I'm not saying this needs to slow down to Modern Warfare 2, the new one levels, but maybe there's a cap on FOV. You know, maybe it's the World War II approach where the PC version of World War II had 90. It didn't go to 120. Because once you go to 120, it just becomes cracked out. If you were to watch BO2 on 120 FOV, because PC had it back in the day, it looks like a totally different game. And I think people wouldn't have liked it if it would have stayed like that. So the movement has worn too thin. I think we have to find the balance between what MW2 tried to do and maybe Cold War, MW19. Like they were close in that era. Like, this is what COD should be. No more. You can't keep getting bailed out by bouncing off the walls, making bad plays, just sliding around the corner. We got to get back to when like positioning mattered and just like overall brain mattered, and not just how young and twitchy you are. And so movement, I think, is a massive factor to get a lot of people back. And you know, these people that are, you know, even myself, I said it, you know, I played BO7 for a good bit. I did a couple tournaments lately. I did not want to play the game after I got done those tournaments. It was just not fun after a couple hours because I'm sliding every 5 seconds. I'm just trying to keep up, slide. Like, I'm good. I genuinely have been playing RedSec. I know that sounds like crazy. I can put my hours in front of you, how long I've been playing this game. It's just been enjoyable. And don't you dare say, oh, well, Battlefield's for you now. No, don't you dare, okay? Call of Duty's my game. and it is what it is. Okay, next up, it's Warzone. 2020 to 2021 Warzone was fantastic. It was one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life. But now, it is not. It is just mid. It's a mid product. And when I watch it, kind of tying back in with movement, it's so cracked out that you don't even want to touch it. And the lackluster updates, we're still playing Verdansk. You have bot modes dividing the player base. And this entire mode to me takes the attention away from the other COD modes like campaign, which we'll get to in a second. And it just to me has ruined the full package of Call of Duty. I honestly have said this in live streams. I am down to separate it, kill it, do whatever you got to do. Put a dev studio on it and let it just ride over there and move on. And if people want to play Warzone, that's their thing. Good luck, have fun. But it's time. And I was a Warzone creator. Maybe some of you guys don't know this. I started in 2020 on Warzone. So I loved it. And now I think it's just a shell of its former self. And whatever they're trying to do with Blackout, I still don't think that's the answer, because it's going to just be sweaty still and all that stuff. It's just not it. And I feel like they are not, maybe they are seeing it, and maybe it's like Modern Warfare 4 is going to bring in DMZ2 and they're going to kind of sunset Warzone because they got Blackout. I don't know, but it needs to just be separated and moved on, make it its own product. When you boot into the main menu, I don't want it to say campaign, multiplayer, Warzone, zombies. I want it to say campaign, multiplayer, and whatever third mode it is. And you want to download Warzone, you can download it over here. Okay? Warzone, I'm sorry if you like Warzone still, good, but it's time to move on from it in terms of the COD package, in my opinion. Well, we might as well get to it. We might as well get to the story. You can't do that. You just can't have two bad campaigns in a row. And I'm not talking about campaigns in like where it's like, oh man, that was all right. You know what I mean? That campaign was all right. No. These are the worst campaigns, not only in COD history, they could be in the top for the top worst campaigns in story game history in any FPS. And that's just a slap in the face. It really is. It's a slap in the face to people who like campaign. It's a slap into the face who have just loved doing that. And this is an old-fashioned thing, but I used to play campaign before I did multiplayer. I would beat the campaign to learn the characters, to learn the story, to kind of get myself involved in this overarching thing. And the last two games, I can't even complete them. I can't even finish them because there's no direction. There's no reason to play them. There's no even like tie into, I mean, this was supposed to be a sequel to BO2, man. And what was that? You know, so I always think that the story influenced the rest of the game. You know, you love the characters, you love Task Force 141. And then when you played multiplayer, it felt like you were almost doing a mission inside a multiplayer that was involving something crazy in the big picture, you know, where you go against like Coalition. I think Coalition was one of the bad guys in, what was it, MW19 or something? I might be wrong on that, but you know, it just felt like that. And now I think one of the recent CODs, it might have been Vanguard. It was your team versus my team in multiplayer. And it's like all of this stuff tied in back in the day. You know, your squad that you ran in campaign was one of the good people inside of the multiplayer. One of the groups that you would play as. And it's just those little things, man, that, you know, the voices on the map, the talking, what do you call that? The extra voices when you're reloading. And all that ties into being like, oh, I know that guy's voice. He's the soldier in one of the campaign missions. And to me, they've lost the plot on just making this thing a cohesive unit. I always go back to World at War. Whatever you want to call it. They probably had less assets. They probably had less time. But somehow they made Asylum from the multiplayer or Airfield from the campaign go across all three modes, and it still felt unique on every one. The Airfield mission in campaign felt different than the Airfield mission in multiplayer, and then Airfield obviously being zombies as well. It was perfect. It literally is perfect. And I don't think this is crazy. Like, I don't think this is like the hardest thing to get back to. I really don't. Or I wouldn't make this video. I wouldn't waste my breath. All right, so the next one is kind of going back to the crossovers, but not really. It's the microtransactions in general. It's the system that's in place. This is a $70 game, and it's trying to use the same formula as a free-to-play game like Fortnite. So you're trying to charge $70 for the base game, and then once you get to the game, you have a season pass that you need to buy. Or it's the other one where it's a limited season edition pass thing, and there's like tiers to it, where you get stuff for free, and then you can actually buy the other ones. With the Fallout example, you know, there's the free stuff up top, and then there's the paid stuff at the bottom. So there's all this paid stuff in the store, whereas you had a $70 game, and you're not really getting a lot of, I mean, I know you're getting free maps, but I just feel like it's so, just, I don't know, it's just backwards. It feels backwards to me. And I know this is gonna sound old-fashioned as well, and I don't think DLC packs is the answer, but man, do I felt like we got more content, better content back when we were getting DLC packs. Now you had to pay for them, and that split up the player base, but man, did it feel like there was more effort with those, and they weren't just like these randomness and just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe that one, but I really feel like instead of these season reloaded updates, it's like, I still feel we could get like a map a week or a map every 2 weeks and throw it into the multiplayer rotation, rather than, hey guys, is season 1 reloaded and we're gonna get all this stuff. Dude, people aren't even coming back for these reloaded updates anymore. Go look around YouTube and tell me somebody's watching everything new about season 1 reloaded. Look at the views on that. Nobody cares. So that's a Black Ops 7 problem as well. It's not just the creator problem, but nobody cares. So they got to find a new system here, whether it's releasing stuff just every week. And that's what I liked about Fortnite. I don't know if this is, somebody can correct me. Early Fortnite, it felt like every week they added something, whether it was a gun, whether it was a POI switch, whether it was some item that you could use. And I almost felt like that was the better way to do it, because it kept you playing the game every week. And if they're going to be in that era of wanting to give these season passes, I think you got to change how content is consumed. Yeah, we can still have these seasonal updates, but in the meantime, you got to sprinkle content, not just, hey guys, we nerfed a gun and you can now use a different gun. No. Throw another gun in the mix, and don't make it the worst gun ever, and give it to us for free, like the Maddox. And I don't even know if that's in the season pass or not. It probably is. But like, imagine you just give the season the Maddox to everybody. No season pass, none of that. Hey, here's the Maddox, throwing it into rotation. You paid $70 for the game, so it's not like they're earning no money. They've earned $70 from all these people. So that microtransaction system is just, I think it's terrible. So you got to choose. Are we making Call of Duty free to play, and then the season pass smack me in the face with it all the time? Or are you keeping a $70 game and finding a middle ground on how much you spam these, whatever you call them? And then last, I'm going to be very quick on this one, guys. Skill-based matchmaking. I'm going to be very brief on this one, because I hate these arguments. I'm so over these arguments, because it doesn't sound like anything's going to change, but I do want to throw this out there. To me, nothing feels natural anymore when I play multiplayer shooters. And maybe this is going to get me in trouble by the casuals watching this video. And to me, I feel like I'm slowly becoming a casual, because I don't play as much competitive. I'm not sweating as much. But even then, I feel like my matchmaking is just so weird. Like, I just don't think it's a natural play. And I know times have changed, people have gotten better, but I always go back to early Fortnite, early Warzone, early Call of Duty. It felt like there was just a randomness in the matches, whether it was somebody that was super sweaty versus a guest account versus somebody building a 1x1 or somebody building a 5x5 in Fortnite. Everything felt different. And that to me is a more natural way and a more natural form of matchmaking. And I just feel like it's completely gone. Now, I know that they've kind of had this skill minimally considered thing in Black Ops 7. And I do believe that that is real. I believe, I'm not a COD shill. Well, maybe I am, but I do believe that that was real. I just think there's only sweats playing this game. There's maybe a few casual people and they're super protected. But I don't think that I think the casuals are playing Arc Raiders. I really do. The game still got 300,000 people playing on PC only, or Steam only. So I think casuals are not playing, so the matchmaking is going to feel sweaty. And so I think tying in with that, skill minimally considered, can we explain what that is? I get it. It's skill minimally considered. But what's the percent on that? What are we talking about? Is it just a little bit? And like they can use that wording because of that, and you're still getting absolutely fried because you're decent at the game. So yeah, I think even with Ark, they've came out and said that they're changing their or they have their matchmaking where it's like, if you don't fight people, you're gonna get paired up with people that don't fight people. Okay, cool, like whatever. The extraction shooters are not my game, so it's not really my place to talk. But to me, that doesn't feel natural. It's not a natural thing. So I now have, there's no tension anymore with that game because I can just, if I don't kill anybody, I'm just gonna walk in there, blah, blah. I'm gonna be able to get whatever I want. So there's no tension to me in that. So I don't know. I feel like matchmaking as a whole, gaming as a whole in FPS feels like it's just one big algorithm to keep you either playing or happy or whatever. And that's why I just want to be brief on it, because I don't think it's going to change. That's why I made it number 9, because it just, something happened when COVID and an influx of players came in and everybody kind of wanted to get coddled. No offense to those who want to get coddled, but it was a different era back in the day where people, you know, they friend requested people that were better. You know, they hit them up and asked them for tips and tricks how to get better. It wasn't that guy's hacking, or that guy's a sweat, or that guy's got no life. Now there's still room. Every once in a while when I'm playing Call of Duty, you guys know me, I say that guy needs to get a job. And there's definitely people out there, but I'm okay with playing those people every once in a while. And then I get a game where I get to be the guy who people go, hey, that guy needs to get a job. You know, it's like, let's balance it out. So yeah, that is my 9 things why I think modern Call of Duty is failing. And I feel like I've nailed it. I'm sure there's other ones out there that you guys have. So that's why I'm saying, Call of Duty fans, please comment down below. If you're a Battlefield fan, if you're an Ark Raiders guy, I hope you see this. And I hope you maybe played Call of Duty back in the day, and maybe you can even put some input. And just a reminder, if you're watching this and you work at Call of Duty and you work at the studios, I don't think this is a direct shot at you, because I still feel like Activision has got their hand on some of these developers and not letting them cook. But if you are a developer, I would just look at these for a little bit and really think about them, because I know maybe some people that are developers maybe don't see this. And I'm hoping that somebody that is just a massive fan of Call of Duty, maybe give them some light and be like, oh, okay, maybe we do need to do some of these things. I got it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really do. If you did, I can encourage you, just leave a like, comment down below your thoughts. Modern Warfare 4, there might be an announcement soon the way BO7's going. So we'll cover that, because I think that might be our final hope for current gen Call of Duty for a while. But thank you all for the support. You know, we're approaching 600,000 subscribers, so let's keep it moving. If you want to follow me on social media, if you made it this far, Tdawgsmitty on all of them. I'm trying to use Instagram more. And okay, cool. We'll see you in the next one.